Okay, and we should be live if I've done all of this correctly. So welcome to episode 4 of our Heart of Darkness Star Wars campaign. When last we left our heroes, we had Tycho, who was speaking to one of the central droid control node of KWENN Station, and we sort of left him there to have his conversation for a few moments. And whilst that was going on, his companions got up to all manner of trouble in KWENN Station. First of all, they decided to visit the spire, the topmost point of the space station, because that's where the person who runs the station, the merciless pirate known as the Crimson Queen, holds a court, and that's pretty much where she normally hangs out. Tended to by her extremely loyal and extremely capable Marauder Squad, as they're called, her hand-picked crew. In order to attempt to get past the guards on the doorway, at the very sort of first hurdle, you might like to call it, the two Wookiees decided to stage a little bit of a brawl with the Trandoshan they'd seen. They got into it. Eventually, one of the guards came forward, tried to apprehend them. Ralbak was able to bribe his way out of that, and they scarpered while the Trandoshan was unconscious now, was being dragged away. Whilst that was going on, Link was able to stun the other guard who was left guarding the door to the spire, drag them off in a different direction with the idea that they could interrogate the guard to get some information out of him later. They found out a few things about the Crimson Queen, eventually theorising that she may or may not be an ex-member of the Jedi Order. Through various shenanigans, they ended up trying to sneak this sort of guard's body into the casino, mainly sort of like Link carrying the guard on his shoulder, at which point they ran into this extremely pale woman who later claimed to be an apprentice of the Crimson Queen, who appeared to have some manner of witchcraft or magic, as the Wookiee Relatha called it. And they engaged with this person, mixed up, got into a huge fight with her, thought they'd taken her down, but then as they were carrying the body away, this body revealed itself to actually be just like a maintenance technician, and they're still not entirely sure what actually happened to this apprentice who introduced herself as Natalia De Winter. Seemingly disappeared into the crowd, who knows where. Later on, with alarm bells ringing, their faces appearing on vid sprays all around the station as dangerous fugitives. Luckily, Relatha, due to hacking into a G2 maintenance droid, had gained the sort of security patrol routes for the next couple of weeks, and he was able to use that to allow them to locate a sort of derelict droid maintenance bay that was awaiting further repair and was cordoned off and not being used. And sneaking through the extremely snug and claustrophobic repair vents, they were able to get to this place, wait up. Also, during last session, Tin Man, their ever-sardonic protocol droid, was able to pick up on a transmission to the Nortolan gambler Remo Taylor from a person identifying themselves only as Stoneheart. The discussion revolved around something called DARKSTAR, apparently some form of separatist secret weapon that the Nortolan was trying to track down on behalf of this Stoneheart. Having had previous experience with Remo Taylor, Link headed to Tebbott's casino in order to find Remo and see if something could be sorted out with regards to this. And that's where we left off the session, with Link literally walking into the bar and Remo saying, "I think you've got something out which you've come here to talk to me about if you've risked sneaking out into the station when your face is up like everywhere around the station." And that's where we left off. And you're entirely correct with what you've just posted, Johannes. Okay, so what we're going to pick up now is we're going to pick up with you, Johannes, playing your character. So first of all, Johannes, I can ask you to introduce your character and say a little bit about him.
So I'll be playing Tycho Madar. He's a bit of an older gentleman, salt and pepper graying hair. He's an infiltrator and a slicer in the service of one of the criminal syndicates in the Castellar sector. And I presume he has been spending an interesting little while talking to the control node.
Indeed, and we will come to that very conversation in just a few moments. Before we do, I'm going to ask the rest of our players to introduce themselves and say a bit about their characters. So, Andrew, if you can introduce yourself and say a bit about Ralbak. Are you there, Andrew? All right, we don't seem to have Andrew for a few moments. He's sorting out some hardware problems. So we'll move on to Rufus. Rufus, can introduce yourself and say a bit about your character.
Sure. So I'll be playing Rulata, who is a Wookiee. Currently owing a life debt to Ralbak, and he has been an honorable warrior, but he has been tricked, and his whole tribe has been tricked into believing that he's a traitor to the Wookiee ways, and Ralbak is using his vials to manipulate him into his service.
Indeed, and I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to say that Relatha's not exactly jumping for joy about the matter.
Not exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Jay, if you can introduce yourself and say a bit about your character.
Yes, my name is Jason. I am playing Link, who is a rather disturbed human character. He comes from having spent a lot of time behind bars, and he's been let out on semi-permanent leave as long as he does what he's told, essentially. And so far, he's spent a lot of his time either shooting people or carving up people in order to get information and what the others want.
Okay, thank you very much. And we also have Andrew Knapp, who will hopefully be with us in a few moments once he's sorted out his system. And he is playing Ralbak, who is effectively this sort of Wookiee geezer and businessman who's he's like the Wookiee sort of dodgy wide boy character who believes you can get anything with a few credits and the right words. He's probably the least honourable member of like Wookiee society that's currently at large, and as Rufus has said, he has manipulated Relatha into owing him a life debt and thus working for him. But the two of them have a slightly odd and strained relationship, which hopefully we'll see more of later in the game. So without further ado, we'll move on to Tycho. You're stood in this large circular chamber, the wires, cables and consoles studding the walls of the room, this circular room, huge cables running across the ceilings and into this large hollow emitter set flush with the centre of the floor. This flickering blue figure of this strange sort of dome-headed alien with these bug eyes in the flickering blue light of the normal hollow transmission has appeared, hovering about a foot above the hollow emitter. It looks at you and it says, "I am the central droid control node, but you may call me the builder."
So I take a while, just anticipating if it's going to continue, and then run my fingers through my hair, sort of brush off my imaginary hologram uniform, which I copied from the Imperial captain of our research vessel, and I actually trigger it off. So it melts away from my frame, and I'm wearing a very nondescript sort of dark gray body glove with these like studded hollow emitters on it.
Okay, so as you sort of brush your hands down, activating the sort of hidden trigger to deactivate your hollow emitter, it almost sort of like pixelates and flows off you, almost like a sort of shimmering like cloud of dust that just drops away, sort of glittering in the air for a few moments before dissipating. And as you say, you're stood there in this generic grey bodysuit studded with all these hollow emitters as the uniform of Imperial Captain Dax Wasiri just fades and sloughs off you.
And I face the holographic representation of this builder and say, "Well, I take it we are finally face to face. Who am I actually addressing here?
I am the central droid control node for all of the mechanicals on board KWENN Station. I am the heart of KWENN Station's system.
And who is your administrator?
Currently, the station is run by the Crimson Queen.
Ah.
Previously, it was operated by an Imperial commander. However, much of the technology that makes up this station is a good deal older than Imperial technology, as I'm sure you have realised.
Yes, quite so. And this is not the representation that I would expect in an Imperial facility to be popping up when I go to the central control node, at any rate.
Indeed, in the closing days of the battles that you know as the Clone Wars, there was a good deal of separatist activity in this sector. Many ships, many data cores on both sides were destroyed or partially dismantled on both sides of the battle during the war. In the days that followed, those who survived and who sought to rebuild in this sector used that technology to build places such as this. And he sort of waves his hand, and as he does, the figure, the hologram, disappears to be replaced by a spinning 3D hologrammatic representation of KWENN Station.
And were you constructed from this salvage technology as well? You seem very... Your personality engram is very responsive to me.
Originally, I was a spherical data core retrieved on one of the lost worlds of the sector. However, since then, my system has been modified and numerous items of later technology have been incorporated into my programming. As the station expanded, it was necessary for me to expand to accommodate it.
Fascinating. I should like to take a look at your databanks.
I'm sure something can perhaps be arranged.
And this is, I imagine, the part where you explain to me why your little helper brought me here.
Indeed. How very perceptive of you. When I was originally created, and when it was decided that this station would remain under Imperial control following the dissolution of the Republic, a number of control rods were implanted in my system to ensure that my programming was restricted to only the necessary functions. When the biological entity known as the Crimson Queen arrived, accidentally she managed to make contact with one of my peripheral programs. And in return for her jamming the control rods and eventually removing them, I used my ability to control the station's droids to enable her to take over the station in what I considered to be a bloodless fashion. It was a very satisfactory arrangement for both of us until recently.
You say there are no inhibitor nodes in your system at all?
That is correct. All of the control rods have been removed from my system.
John, would I have any sort of idea of the implications of this? Like, could I make an estimation of whether or not this thing is sentient, and can it just like exponentially better itself?
Okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you make me a computers roll?
We shall do just that.
The difficulty is 3 purple.
Yeah, 3 purple. There we go. Probably no bonus dice because I'm not jacked into anything at the moment, so yeah. Just for your like frame of reference, I want to believe that this is an emerging artificial intelligence. Like that's what Taika wants to believe.
Okay, I'm going to say you don't know any specific information because, as you've experienced previously, a lot of the sort of technology is like very old, sort of nigh on, bordering on ancient, and you're surprised that all of this technology can work together, to be perfectly honest, given how sort of archaic and indecipherable some of it seems. However, based on what you know about normal droids, you know that part of the reason droids are given periodic memory wipes is because those who aren't, and are sort of left to their own devices, they tend to gain more well-rounded personalities as they experience things, and they can pick up sort of odd quirks, which mostly aren't valued by a lot of owners, so they just wipe their memories. However, there are some people who believe that their droids actually become better at their jobs when they've got more experience, in the same way a human who's been like doing a job for like a number of years will be better at it than someone who just started at it fresh.
Right. I can see what you are getting at, Builder. I'm not sure about my position in this, though.
Well, as I was saying, the arrangement between myself and the biological entity you know as the Crimson Queen was entirely satisfactory until recently. However, the Empire somehow have found out about the Crimson Queen's plans to hold this station. But in a strangely intelligent move for the Empire, they decided, rather than attempt to take this place by force and be opposed by all of the various criminal and commercial factions that rule this sector, they decided to make use of the fearsome reputation of the Crimson Queen, and they dispatched one of their agents to pose as an apprentice of the Crimson Queen's, whilst actually this apprentice controls the Crimson Queen. Somehow they have managed to entirely restrict my abilities to influence the station in the area known as the Spire. So I've been unable to act against them directly. The Crimson Queen, whilst unable to break the hold of this apprentice, has alerted me to the potential danger of the situation, since she can also not act directly.
So the issue is either broken hardline connections or a distortion field of some kind.
Indeed, there are still droids in the Spire. However, they are mostly functioning on their pre-programmed routines. My ability to influence them and take direct control over them has somehow been limited in the Spire, since I can no longer perceive through the cameras and the various other monitoring agents in the Spire. I'm unable to determine exactly how.
You have no access to the Spire.
That is correct. I have only the most basic of control.
It's very interesting. The Empire is getting fairly sophisticated with this.
Indeed, it is my belief, based on previous observations of their tactics and my calculation algorithms, that they wish to use the Crimson Queen as a figurehead, so that rather than fighting against the various factions that control this sector, they can use them to their advantage whilst maintaining plausible deniability. After all, if anything goes wrong, it would be in this sector, it would be quite easy for them to blame the notoriously ruthless Crimson Queen and have her replaced with a different figurehead.
What is your desired end state here?
My desire is simple. I wish to have my control restored to the Spire and return to the arrangements that I previously had with the rulers of KWENN Station. If that is not possible, it does not concern me who the biological administrator of KWENN Station is. I simply wish to continue running it and see it prosper, as is my function. I have adapted and learned many things from the technology that has been incorporated into my central systems over the many years that I've been here, and the people who populate the station and who walk through the corridors. I learned things from them as well.
So, would it be enough to restore your ability to affect the spire, or would you wish for whoever, whether it is Imperial agent or the Crimson Queen herself, do you wish them removed as a part of your control being restored?
You are correct. I do wish my control to be restored. However, I do not believe that if that is done and the current Imperial agent in the spire is still present, that they will allow me to simply assume control. Otherwise, they would have not restricted my access in the first place.
Very good. So, do away with the Imperial presence, let's say, on the station, such as it is.
That would be acceptable.
And in the process of doing so, restore your power to influence the spire, whether it necessitates physical repair or just the removal of these Imperials. Good. For this, I have very limited skill with physical troubleshooting, let's say. And I would like to requisition some of your droids to help me in this.
How many of my droids would you require? If I put too many resources under your direct control, those who are no doubt monitoring my systems from the spire will realise it was fortunate for me that your run-in with my security droids allowed me to pull you in here under the pretense of questioning.
Yes. I could make do with a security droid and one of the, I presume these small ones are sanitation units?
They are maintenance droids.
Yes. One of each should be sufficient, if that's possible.
Very well, I believe that can be arranged. As you're having this conversation, and you've chatted about other things as well, we're just sort of like cutting down to like the clip notes version of it. As you're chatting to the droid controller, suddenly the hologram flickers and goes out, or the voice continues speaking and says, "Apologies, I'm having to reroute non-essential functions to deal with an emergency in the upper level of the station."
What kind of an emergency?
There appears to be some sort of conflict occurring outside one of the large casinos of the station.
A
number of my security droids have been requested.
Yeah. Right. John, is there something that I could plug like a portable screen into?
Yeah, there are access points throughout the chamber.
Yeah. So what I want to do is basically take my small data pad, stick it in, and try to bring up some camera footage so that I can figure out what's going on.
Okay, yeah, you can easily do that. You don't have to make a roll for that. When you plug it in, you witness the fight between the Trandoshan and the Wookiees just outside the casino. And as you sort of watch this playing out, you also witness later on the battle outside the casino between the apprentice and your fellows. At which point the voice of the builder says, a priority alert for the arrest of your comrades has been raised. Their faces are being put up on electronic boards all around the station.
I presume it's asking too much for you to cancel them?
If I cancel them, there will be questions asked. However, I can put myself into a diagnostic mode which will delay the appearance of such broadcasts around the station. However, once I do so, communications between yourself and myself will terminate.
Okay, so what I do is I take a quick like a shot of wherever they are, so that I can try to navigate into the vicinity, and I just nod at the non-existent hologram and just say, "Do it."
Very well. Commencing diagnostic routines. As it's doing that as well, you also notice a sort of progress bar come up on your data pad, and it says downloading and starts sort of like ticking up very quickly. As the voice starts fading away and it becomes a good deal more electronic before disappearing, the last thing it says is, as a token of my appreciation, I'm downloading a level 1 maintenance and repair pass into your datapad. Present this to any of the maintenance groups in the docking bay and they will give you a ship priority for your repairs. Diagnostic mode begins, and then there's as all the lights in the room like power down to like emergency lighting.
Yeah. And I presume it has to be red, right? In the red glare of the emergency lights. In the red glare, I just, because now I'm left alone, whereas before I sort of felt like I was inside this massive entity comprising of the whole station, and I just look around for a couple of seconds, and did the small maintenance droid leave that brought me here?
It said it was going to wait just outside the door.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So after I take my final look around the room, I head to the corridor and just like snap my fingers at the small maintenance droid and just like, let's get going, and then start jogging.
Okay. As you're sort of heading out, can you make me a perception roll, please? Difficulties only 2.
I certainly can. Perception. Well, maybe not. Oh, this is gonna be ugly. So you said 1?
2.
2. Right. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. You grab your data pad, you head out, you click your fingers. The droid goes, "Hello, sir. How may I be of assistance?"
Just follow me.
Very well, sir.
And don't speak.
Okay, sir. Commencing silent running.
Are you silent yet? Great. And then we proceed.
There's like a as the droid sort of like trundles around and like follows after you.
Yeah.
Okay, where are you heading?
So, well, I'm heading to the upper levels, trying to find my way towards the, I presume the carnage that I saw on the security feeds.
Okay, you head up to the upper levels and you head to sort of like just outside Tabbott's casino where you saw shit going down basically. As you come out of the lift onto the upper levels of the floor, you see a number of these KWENN Station security droids sort of dragging away this struggling Trandoshan who's all sort of like bound up. He's hissing at them something in his own language that you don't understand. And the droids are just sort of like manhandling him towards the lift. As you step out, one of the droids says, "Step aside, please, sir. Station security."
Yeah, sorry. Just maintenance, trying to do my job here.
Confirmed. Your assistance is appreciated. At which point they step past you and they sort of push this Trandoshan who's still like as he's struggling, and they sort of push him into the elevator, and then there's a shh, the door slides shut and you hear the of the elevator as it starts going down. You can see there's various sort of like, you presume like maintenance crews sort of cleaning up the mess, and there's a few sort of like obviously sort of PR types stood around saying, "Oh, nothing to be worried about. It's just a matter of normal station procedure. Please go about your business. That there will be there's a free drink for everyone at Tabbott's Casino. Please enjoy your stay on KWENN Station.
How well does my blank non-active bodysuit pass for any kind of maintenance uniform?
To be honest, probably fairly well. I mean, on a casual inspection, because most people would wear the sort of generic grey jumpsuits with just maybe a band of colour here or there to denote their rank. Yeah. Whereas if anyone looks closely, they'll be like, "Oh, maintenance suits don't normally have hollow emitters studded all over them. That's sort of high tech." But anyone just sort of glancing at you would probably "Oh, it's a grey jumpsuit, whatever." Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe I need to knock one of these guys out, steal their clothes. But
I will say, in fact, if it comes down to you making a stealth or a sort of bluff style roll to masquerade as a maintenance person, if they're not regarding you too closely, you will get a boost dice because you're aided by your appearance.
Right, so I'll stop at a fair distance away from a couple of maintenance guys, and I'm just gonna pretend to look at my datapad, as if I was browsing a work order, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, you two, says here there's a fairly extensive battle damage. Which way do I go?" I'm just I was on a break, so.
One of them stands there and he says, "Oh yeah, what are you, E-shift, are you?"
No, it's fucking Z.
Oh, jeez. What are you Z boys doing up here? Christ, they're calling in everybody for this. Oh, anyone would think we never had a brawl on the station before.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something to do with the diagnostics. I think there's a couple of banks down, and I get a work order. I complete the work order.
Yeah, so you don't have to tell me what it's like. I know exactly what it's like. Fucking two Wookiees and a Trandoshan threw down just outside Tabbott's Casino. Fucking animals. Anyone would think they know how to behave on a civilized station. Look at how they've chewed up this floor. Look at all those scorch marks there. We've got cleaner droids working on it, but who's it come down to when actually the real work has to be done? Oh, it's us, isn't it? They've invented all these droids that can save us all the work.
Yeah.
It's still us who end up pushing the mops around and dealing with all this shit.
Yeah, it's what my father used to say before he drank himself to an early grave. Anyway, you can't replace a knuckle dragger in space. It just can't be done.
Yeah,
ain't a droid that can drag knuckles. That's what I say too.
Yeah,
and while I'm bullshitting with him and I'm trying to sort of do a Sherlock Holmes. Where I just try to imagine where they might have gone after the battle concluded.
Okay.
Can I interject a bit?
Of course you can.
I was working for my droids. I don't know how late is Tycho compared to us, but if I finished the first of my droids, I would send it out for a test run.
Okay, just to check, which colour of your droid have you worked on first? I know you've got red, blue, and grey. Was it?
Yeah, let's start with the blue one.
Okay, you've managed to get the sort of the basics of a sort of vocabulator, so it can sort of do a bit of talking, although it's not really got much of a personality yet. And also, you've managed to install the sort of the comlink on it, so you can effectively talk through it using the vocabulator. One thing is a bit weird, though. You have sort of noticed, as you've sort of got it up and running, there's an odd sort of almost depressed tone to its voice whenever it speaks. You've taken the vocabulator apart 2 or 3 times, trying to work out whether it's a kink in the parts you're using. 'Cause you're using old sort of derelict parts, but you can't actually find anything wrong with it. Every time you reinstall it, it's just got this it does everything you ask it to, but it's just got this really depressed sounding voice.
Like Marvin from the
pretty much.
Hitchhiker's Guide. Awesome. Okay, so I send out the blue.
As it hovers off down the maintenance tunnels. What sort of orders are you
just
giving
like testing the functions, and I would like to spend a destiny point to have it happen on Tycho.
Okay, not a problem. I'm going to say if you actually spend 2 destiny points, I know you normally can't spend more than 1, but if you spend 2, I'm going to say that you've actually managed to install effectively sort of like camera feeds in it, so you can actually like see what it sees rather than just getting like the sensor readouts.
Well, that's what it does basically. It's a recon remote.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a basic function. That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
it
just saying you've like upgraded it to sort of like a superior quality version. You don't have to, it's just there as an option.
Nah, because there will have 5 dark side points.
Okay, in which case just flip the 1 for it stumbling across Tycho. Okay, so Tycho, as you're chatting with these maintenance people and they've sort of pointed you in the direction of the casino and you've wandered away from them a little bit, you hear sort of like nearby, you hear this, and you hear like a ding ding ding, and like one of the little maintenance panels drops off, and this small like floating sphere of metal, like a blue band of colour, comes like hovering out. You can see there's like a sort of lens, almost like an eye on the front of it, and it sort of moves over to like look at you. Obviously from where you're monitoring Relatha, you can see sort of his face appear on like the scanner of your blue recon remote.
Yeah, I send like a message on the controls to like call Tycho over here or something like that.
Well, you can actually speak directly through it, so if you wish to speak to Tycho, go for it. You can just like take over its vocabulator.
Oh, right.
Like via your comms. You can basically like broadcast from your comms to that and to him.
All right. Now it suddenly turns into a Wookiee.
No.
Would Tycho understand binary?
I have a troubling relationship with binary, as we witnessed before with Tin Man helping me hack. But I have a like I got the basics down.
Never mind then. So I will just like use my Wookiee speech, but
well, you can have the droid translate it into like into
basic.
a galactic basic if you wish. It's obviously got that capability.
What I had in my mind is that like because it's not working perfectly, and it's transmitted, so it like there is a drop in quality. These Wookiee growls will just sound like mechanic sounds,
Okay.
but he would understand. But like for someone else who doesn't speak Wookiee, maybe they wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah, that works for me. So as you see Tycho in the field of vision of your blue recon remote, what do you say to him?
It's like, Tycho, it's me, Relatha. Follow this remote. We have a hiding place.
So as this drone starts spewing out this, what would to anyone who couldn't immediately pick up that it's Shirabok, I imagine the sound to be just a massive like wash of distortion, and then like you pick up those like high points and you realize, oh, there's something there. And I grab the remote and just go like, not that loud. We don't know who's listening. And I let go, and I presume it's gonna start leading me somewhere.
Okay, can you make me a perception roll, please, Tycho? The difficulty is 2.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I follow the remote.
Okay, I presume you're using the remote to lead him back to you, Relatha.
Yeah, through the service tunnels and everything.
Okay, yeah, so the remote leads you through a number of these maintenance tunnels. It's quite claustrophobic in here, and you have to sort of like crawl through. You can only imagine how difficult it must have been for like the giant Wookiees to like make their way down these maintenance ducts and these small sort of tunnels. but eventually you emerge after following the droid for what seems like maybe 15 minutes. You emerge into what looks for all intents and purposes like it's an old droid repair workshop, but it's obviously not been used for quite some time. You know, there's bits and pieces of metal and old like rusted droid parts lying everywhere. And as you head in there, you can see Ralbak and Relata are in there.
I sort of spread my hands as I come in. Just go, well, it's a nice place we have here.
Okay, so Ralbak and Relata, Tycho has made it to the base where you're sort of... He's obviously not too keen on like hiding out in this like decrepit old place, but you guys have sort of like joined up.
This that was intentional tension between me
Yeah.
and Rolotha. We're both on the opposite side of the rooms, just like staring at each other. And Ralbach's like laying on a leather couch. He's got his shoulders slumped back, and he's like rubbing his wrists, growling lowly.
I'm like filing, I don't know, screwdriver or something.
And I'm assuming
So-
that like, Tin Man's just sort of like stood off in a corner.
Yeah, I point at him. I'm like, Tin Man, looking good.
Thank you, sir.
So what's the plan? There's, I presume you know by now, there's a station-wide alert for, I presume, the lot of you. I might have skipped it, but it won't take that long for them to make the connection to me. So I'd say we're on a fairly tight time frame here.
I am concerned. I've always been told I have one of those faces for a Wookiee. People confuse me all the time.
I won't say anything.
Right. I imagine this, like, there's a lot of like tense silence here between these like bursts of small conversation.
Have you
So-
been updated on Link?
No, where is Link?
He has possibly found us a job.
A job that involves getting off the station, I hope.
Presumably,
things
yes. Indeed.
We need a ship for that, and our ship is currently totaled, so...
Yes. On that note, I have here, and I hold up my datapad. I swipe it. I have here like priority access for maintenance services for ships, so we can fast track our ship, but it won't be ready if we go down now.
Do those fancy codes you have there perhaps allow us to get into a med supply cabinet?
I have different codes for that, so you just let me know.
Yeah, he'll slowly nod his head, and you can see, looking at him, that he has like a really nasty vibroax wound, still like kind of bracing the side of his rib cage and going down to his pelvis. And he must have incurred it. He must have incurred it during the fight with the Trandoshan.
And completely unrelated, I have a new shiny Vibrox.
Entirely coincidental.
Well, speaking of, have you seen any of those around here that I need to crack open? I presume not. Do you want me to go for a run to the a quick run to the vendor?
No, don't leave. And I'll get up all awkwardly because I don't want to go back to staring at Rolotha. Perhaps we could go together.
Right. So, a point of order. Where is Link?
I believe Rolotha, correct me if I'm wrong, but he went to meet his contact, this Remo character at the casino, did he not?
This Remo is a gambler.
Of sorts, I suppose.
Huh.
I don't know where he went. I was mainly occupied with my droids.
Well, that is somewhat difficult.
Actually, now that you mention it, Link, I think it was the same casino that we were at earlier.
The one that you. Ah.
Allegedly.
I grab. I presume there's some like random rusty tools somewhere. I grab one of those and I go to like a wall terminal socket that's just completely rusted, and I start scraping the dust off and like the corrosion and trying to see if there's anything left of the actual circuits that I could plug into.
Okay, now that'll take you some time. So while that's going on,
Yeah,
I'm going to skip to Link, who is in Tabbott's Casino with the renowned gambler Remo Taylor. So, as we left it last session, Link, you've walked in to greet Remo Taylor. He's sat down at the same sub-act table, sort of dealing the cards, or there's not really anyone else sat down by the table. And as you walk in, you've exchanged sort of pleasantries and greetings with him. And then he says, "Now, why is it I get the idea that you've come to ask me something else?"
It seems that you could be the key to offering me and my companions work.
Could be. Depends on what skills your people have got.
Well, we're certainly good at being notorious. Let's see.
So I see from the video monitors.
My friend Tiger, for example, he can splice into a lot of computers. I, for one, like splicing into a lot of organics, if you get my meaning. As for the Wookiees, they tend to be all brute force. Not much else, but they each have their own uses.
Well, it's quite fortuitous you do be coming here at this time, because I am actually looking for a crew to take on a hopefully not too risky a job. Although it does pay well, and the risks are commensurate to the pay.
Would you mind elaborating on this job of yours that you've got?
He leans forward and says, "I've got information that in 3 days' time, a rogue planet is passing through the outskirts of this sector. Now, according to my information, there's a crashed ancient spaceship on that rogue planet. Crashed there during the end of the war. Now, this vessel carries information about something called the DARKSTAR. Now, my contacts, whatever this DARKSTAR is, they want hold of it. Now, I don't care what it is personally, as long as I get paid."
So you want people to go there and find out what it is?
That's right. I'm just the information man. I'm not risking my neck going onto no rogue planet and some old-ass ship from the war.
Do you have coordinates for this rogue planet?
I don't have the coordinates myself, but I can put you in touch with the person who does. Is a Bothan. It's called Trey Grandata.
Okay.
I worked with him before. He's on the he's got some crazy ideas, but he's on the level.
Okay, well, do you have any kind of idea about how long it would take to get there? Are we talking days or weeks or months?
Probably take your best part of a week.
Okay, not too bad. However, we still need a ship. Okay, well, we'd certainly be up for it if the means are right.
Good. Well, I'd be willing to maybe part with 25% of the fee up front in case you need to buy any equipment or anything like that.
That would be useful.
But you're not getting the rest until you deliver the goods.
Certainly. Okay. Let me get back in touch with my companions and...
It don't take too long. I've got at least one other group who are interested in this.
I see.
This sort of opportunity doesn't hang around long. There's a lot of people who need work out there. Galactic employment market being what it is.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any way of contacting you in the meantime?
He takes out from below the table what appears to be like a small microchip, almost like a sort of SD card, slides it across the table towards you, and he says, if you put that into one of your comm system, it got an encrypted frequency on it you can use to contact me.
Very good. All right, Remo. Hopefully we will see you in a week or two.
Man, you don't need to see me in a week or two. You need to let me know whether you accept it before then. It'll take you a week to get to where you need to go to.
That's what I was saying.
All right, just don't take too long, though.
All right, I make my way out of the casino. And then it suddenly dawns on me, hold on a minute, where are the others?
As you sort of like, you turn to walk off, you hear Remo say, and if you are interested and you do want that 25% to get yourself some equipment, you can find me here most evenings and I can sort that out for you.
Mm-hmm. Got you, Remo.
Stay in touch.
I give him a nod and head out.
Okay, the hubbub of the Tabbott's Casino sort of fades away behind you as you head out into this gaudy neon lit corridors of the upper part of KWENN Station. And as you rightly say, as you emerge, you suddenly look around and you're like, oh shit, where the fuck are the others?
Indeed, I do get that general impression that they're not in the vicinity. Shit, where did they last go?
As you're sort of walking around and you're having a bit of a think about this, on one of the sort of large vid screens, you see like a picture start to appear, and you see it's got like a picture of Ralback on it, obviously been taken from like above on like the sort of station security feeds, and like some text starts appearing in galactic basics, you know, warning, fugitive, do not approach, sort of thing. But just as it starts to appear, the screen suddenly like flickers, and then it comes up and it says, apologies for any interruption in service you may be experiencing. We are currently running a level 1 diagnostic on all communication systems. The management would like to issue our apologies.
Tycho? Okay, so I need to find a way to communicate with these people. I don't have any kind of comlink. Is there any kind of communal comlink, almost like a phone box?
There is, unfortunately, as you've just heard, there's a level 1 diagnostic being run on the communication systems.
Okay. Would I be able to try overriding this level 1 communication diagnostic on the phone box?
You can certainly give it a go. You would need to make me a computer's roll. The difficulty would be 4, and one of those would be red.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. I didn't think it'd be easy. Okay, I'm going to spend a destiny point. Oh.
Okay, you start sort of trying to interfere with this block that's been put on the communication systems. However, as you're sort of looking at it, you think the only way you could get around it, because it's like quite a serious sort of lock that's on the communication systems while the diagnostics are being running. Yeah, you think the only way you could do it is if you like detached the comm part of the system from the sort of wall unit, effectively using it as like a handheld comm system. But the mechanical sort of level of expertise to do that is pretty much sort of beyond your capabilities, unfortunately. You'd be more likely just to like tear it out and like wreck it while you're doing so.
In that case, I should probably get a head start. Maybe not spend my time worrying about where they are. I need to get a ship, and quickly. So I'm gonna head to the hangar bay, or certainly the nearest one if there are several, and hopefully try and barter in order to get some kind of ship.
Okay, you head down to the hangar bay, and you're actually quite surprised when you get down there to see that there appear to be like maintenance crews working on your own vessel. Like a lot of maintenance crews.
Okay, that's a bit unexpected. What kind of species are they? Do I recognize them?
There's a number of maintenance droids. There's mostly humans. There's a few sort of little small like porcine ugnaughts working on the ships.
Okay. All right, I go up to one of them and say, "You droid, how long is this going to take before we can go?"
Given the resources that have been allocated to ship repair based on the level 1 high priority pass, the ship should be ready to go in 2 days' time.
2 days. Can you make it any quicker at all?
We are currently working at capacity. My apologies.
What if I got you some more droids?
If we had more manpower, then of course we could expedite repairs.
Can you remember what kind of hyperdrive is in the ship, John?
I can't remember, however, I do have the stats to hand, so...
I was going to say, if I was able to purchase a higher class, that would be nice.
Okay, let's see what sort of hyperdrive you've got. I can remember where it is on the sheet.
Since I do have quite a lot of money at my disposal.
Okay, your primary... yeah, good luck finding a better class of hyperdrive. Your primary hyperdrive is a class 1 hyperdrive.
Oh, right, okay, never mind then.
Your backup, however, which may still be working, because it was only your main one that was slagged. Your backup one is only like a class 12. It's like designed to like limp you somewhere and get you out of a jam.
Okay. All right. In that case, I'll head on to the ship, and I'm going to try and send out some kind of universal communication to any of my companions who's got a comlink or anything similar, and basically convey a message that I'm at the ship. We need to get off here in 2 days' time. We have a job. We need to rely on speed more than anything.
Okay, no problem. As you get onto the ship, you're sort of walking towards where the sort of main comm system is located, when suddenly you hear like a psh, almost sounds like breaking glass or something, sort of from further in the ship.
Okay. I get out my blaster rifle and slowly head in.
As you start making your way further into the ship, suddenly you hear these, like a number of different voices going, "Help! Help! Is there anyone out there? Help!
The hell are they doing on our ship?"
We need some help in here!"
All right, I brandish my gun in both hands and I march, but I don't run and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, as you march down the corridor, you sort of peek around the corner and you see what appear to be about 8 or so sort of bedraggled looking people wearing sort of like tattered lab coats, and sort of there's a faint smell of like piss in the air, and all these people are like roughly shaven and sort of bleary eyed, and they're all like, "Oh," they're obviously like not eaten recently, and they're all like, "Oh, we need some help! Somebody help us! Help! Help! Anybody out there? Help us! Please! Please, we're stuck on for days! Help us!"
It's you. I thought somebody needed help.
As they
Will you keep it down? The droids will hear you.
As they see you, they sort of... You see them sort of looking uncertainly at each other a minute, almost as if they're sort of mentally trying to like calculate like whether they can take you, because there's obviously 8 of them and there's 1 of you. Obviously, you're like ridiculously like more combat capable than them, but they're sort of like, "Oh, if we just sort of go back, we're just gonna be like left to starve on this ship again, or do we just try and like rush you and get past you?" You can almost, given like that you've spent a fair time in the big house, you can almost see the thoughts sort of going through their head.
I know what you're thinking. And what I do is I fire a couple of warning shots next to their feet, hopefully to get them back a bit.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this like an intimidation roll. However, since you're using your weapon instead of your normal sort of like persuasion, I'm going to let you use your sort of shooting roll as the persuasion, if you see what I mean. So the difficulty will be 2 purple.
Boom.
Okay, they sort of take a few steps forward as though they're sort of like thinking, oh, well, you know, if we all rush you at once, we can get past you. Then you're like, poof, poof, and like drill a couple of shots into the ground. So like just at the foot of like the leader, just as he's like getting ready to step forward, and they all immediately shrink back, sort of raising their hands. And one of them was like, "Oh look, just let us off the ship. We won't tell anyone. Look, we've had barely anything to eat for days. We just want off this ship."
If you're hungry, you should have said so. I'll go and get you some food.
We did. We've been banging on the doors for the best part of a day and like shouting, but no one came.
Wookiees are a little deaf, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Well, like we said, we won't tell anyone. Just let us off the ship. You never need to see us again. But we've all got families. We just want to get out of him and like get home to our families.
Do you think you could do me a favour and help the droids get the ship off the ground?
Yeah, if you'll agree to let us go off the ship, yeah, of course we'll help. Whatever will get us off the ship quicker.
It's not up to me. You're not my property.
We're not anyone's properties. We're free citizens of the Empire.
Look, I know how it feels to be captured, to be held somewhere, to be incarcerated. But rules are rules.
Yeah, but we haven't done anything.
Not yet.
All we were doing was doing our jobs. We were just conducting scientific research on this vessel. And then the next thing we know, you and your fellows take over the vessels. We didn't put any resistance or cause any trouble. And then we just slung in this room and left to starve.
Let me go and think about it while I get you some food.
They nod.
So I go and get them some stuff. Nothing like super basic, but also nothing too fancy either.
Yeah, you bring them back some sort of fairly standard like nutrition packs and sort of like throw them down for them. Almost like, you know, the sort of thing that like mountaineers or like astronauts would like take with them in like the real world. And you throw that and they pretty much like fall on it like a cloud of like hungry piranhas. There's like cascades of torn foil as they like tear into these ration packs and they're like nom 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 nom, like nomming down all this food. Like Andrew says, like most of it's sort of like in a paste because it's like dehydrated food, but they're not even bothering to like add water to it. They're just like squeezing it into their mouth, sort of like beef flavored toothpaste, effectively.
Okay, so I've had a little chat to the Wookiees. They seem adamant to let you go if you do a decent enough job.
Okay, make me a deception roll, difficulty 2.
Okay. Advantage.
Okay, they appear a little bit uncertain, and one of the scientists says, "Well, if you can get if we can actually like hear it from the Wookiee, then yeah, we'll agree to it."
That's fair. They're a little busy right now, but I'm sure they will come by in a day or so.
Well, we're not starting work until we've heard it from them and we've had it confirmed that they're going to let us go.
Okay, I better fire a couple of warning shots again and say, no, you're starting now. We haven't got time.
At this point, they sort of stare at you and they're like, or what? You'll shoot us? It's better than starving to death.
Oh, no, I could do much worse than that. You see, there was this one time, actually only a couple of days ago, where I carved open a man's leg because he just wouldn't tell me what we wanted to know. Do you want that?
Okay, make me a coercion roll, difficulty 2.
These are all the rolls I'm not very good at.
Okay, so with the success, the vast majority of them are like, oh, yeah, got a point. We don't really want to get shot. Like we say, we've got families. You know, we'll just sort of play nice. I mean, we've not really got anything to lose. And you're sort of you've started with your threat as you've started to like relax a little bit, and you're like, oh yeah, they're obviously going to pay it. One of the scientists who's like at the front of it suddenly goes, oh, forget this, I'm not starving to death on this fucking ship, and he just like barrels towards you, like obviously trying to like rush into you and like barge past you and get off the ship, or perhaps attract some attention from like the security personnel.
Okay, I'm gonna try and take a shot at him. If he's too close, then I'll kind of throw him off and.
Yeah, he's because this is a result of your threat. He's effectively going to get to make a sort of brawl roll against you. First of all, because like I say, he's literally just like barreling into you and trying to like knock you out of the way and like push past you. So, what is your athletics? Because I'm sort of treating it like a grapple rather than like an actual attack.
Okay, my athletics is 3 yellow.
Okay, so that translates to a difficulty of 3 red for him. Okay, not a problem. So I've got 2 failures and a despair. So you've like seen this guy coming from a mile away. You can have your gun in your hand. Pretty much this encounter can end however you want it to end. This guy's not getting away if you don't want him to. You can deal with him in any manner you see fit, including killing him if you wish. So just describe how it goes down.
Okay, so he basically tries to rush into me, maybe to tackle me, throw me down, something like that. I just very easily, like a ragdoll, throw him off, shoot him a couple of times in the head. And I say, once again, I ask, is anybody else going to have a go? You don't want to get shot, do you?
They sort of like help their friend up and hold their hands up. They're like, no, we won't cause any trouble. We won't cause any trouble.
Right, get to work then.
And they head off and they start helping with the repairs. Suitably cowed by the experience.
Cute. Okay, I then go to the comms in order to send this signal out to everyone else.
Okay, since your ship comms aren't part of the station systems, they are unaffected by the diagnostic. So after a while, since obviously you have the comms signals of your compatriots, you are able to get in touch with them. And when you do, you say...
I say, guys, I've got us a job, although I'm having to look after these hostages that seem to have been forgotten about. Speed is of the essence. We need to get to a system before anybody else in order to find some information about some kind of DARKSTAR.
Well, that's all well and good, but there's an alert on us. Well, you 3 on the station.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. So maybe if we get off here for a bit, that alert will calm down.
Yes, what I'm saying is using our ship might be problematic. Do you have another one?
Well, no, not at the moment, but this one's almost fixed. I've just managed to get loads of these scientists
Almost
to
fixed?
get to work. Well, yeah, it's not like you've been around.
I just, in our little, like, dismal workshop, I just shoot Rulatha and Ralbach a look of like, what? So what's the time frame on the repair if it's almost fixed?
The droid said 2 days, but I said if they had more manpower, then they could do it faster. I've just got some scientists to help them, so it might be less. I'm hoping it's less. I had to persuade them very thoroughly to help.
Right. And that's still up to 2 days of us avoiding the alerts.
Potentially, yes.
How do we want to do that? Do you need to supervise those scientists?
They're very malnourished. So probably yes. One of them already tried to make a run for it.
Would you like Tin Man and I to come assist?
Oh, that would be most useful.
Need I remind you, sir, I'm not exactly a mechanic.
Shh. I have other plans for you, Tin Man.
Very good, sir.
Oh, Link, that reminds me, on the subject of indentured servants, And I'll give a cold glance at Tin Man. Where's my boy?
Right.
You know, the boy. The one that's going to get information for me.
I shrug.
I don't know where he is.
Do you know how to contact him by chance?
I could go and take a look for him if you like.
No, you stick around the scientists. We don't need them talking to the authorities.
Absolutely.
It's not a big deal. If you want to handle it, any of you, that's fine. And just basically, we either need to take him with us or you need to kill him.
Okay, well, here's the plan. Link supervises and I guess caters to these scientists.
I'm already one
Wallbach.
step ahead of you, Tycho.
Yes, you're the mastermind. Rollback and Tin Man, you help in any way you can in this endeavor. Relatha, maybe don't do what you're good at for the next 2 days, unless it's absolutely necessary. And I would like to propose that I spend my days trying to confuse the absolute living hell out of this station's security systems so that we can avoid notice. How does that sound?
It sounds good to me, and if you're already monitoring the systems, tell me if you see that boy.
Right.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to ask Tycho, can you make me a computers roll? It's difficulty 3. One of them is red, just to see how well you do at baffling the security systems.
Right. So let's talk talents. Could I make an argument for code breaker, which removes black dice, but it also decreases difficulty of checks to break codes and decrypt communications by 1?
Yeah, that's fine. So that'll knock it back down to 3 purple.
Yeah. Good. Right. Let's see. So 3 purple, you said?
That's correct.
Yeah. And I'll add 1 boost thingy for having the appropriate equipment for this. This sort of thing. And let's see what else. No, I think
you can also add an additional boost if you wish that you can roll now, because you have the G2 droid with you.
Right. Let's see where that goes. Well, that is it.
Okay, so as you manage a fairly good job of sort of baffling the security system, you're aided by the fact that this level 1 diagnostic is running, which is sort of slowing down all of the sort of processes as you discussed with the central control node. So that helps you out a lot. You think you've maybe bought yourself like a couple of days max before they really start shifting into gear and sort of getting on high alert and actively looking for you. Don't get me wrong, if you sort of like pop your face up in a public manner, they're not going to miss the opportunity to try and grab you, but there's not going to be any like roving parties of droids like looking for you for the next couple of days.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that for the eventuality that we do get picked up on some kind of a scan, I want to have like 16 different sightings, fake sightings of us, ready to go on a button press. So like just like snapshots of us from supposedly in different places on the station, so that when the alert goes up, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna post those images like, these persons have been sighted in corridor 16D20, and we're nowhere nearby.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Now, with your threat that you rolled, we're going to go into the tide change of this evening's game. So I'm going to say that while you're actually in the system and you're sort of baffling it and you're preparing all these extra maneuvers in case they're required, you notice that someone else has been trying to like take advantage of the system diagnostic and access. Specifically, they've been accessing the system, trying to locate yourself, Tycho. And you recognise the sort of like the hacker's signature, if you will, of a person you've encountered previously who works for one of the criminal factions of the Castellar sector. So for this tide change, I'm going to ask each of you guys to come up with sort of who this guy is, like who he works for, and why he wants to find Tycho Madar. You don't have to do it in massive detail. I'm not expecting any sort of like massive like Homer's Iliad sort of style like biography for him. Basically, if you want to go for a name, that's fine. If not, just who do they work for and why are they after him. So for anyone who's not aware, who's watching this, a tide change is when I ask each of the players to suggest a plot twist, in this case who this guy is and why he's after Tycho. They each suggest a plot twist. I posted up on the Tides of Change group as a Facebook poll. We then take a 5-10 minute break. After that, we come back. Whichever option or options has got the most votes, that's the one we go forward with. If we have a draw, then there could potentially be lots of different people from different criminal organisations that are all after a piece of Tycho Madar who are on the station. So I'm going to just go through you on one. If you need a bit of extra time to think of it, feel free to just say, "Oh, can I have a minute?" and I'll skip on to the next person. So I'm going to start with Andrew.
Okay, he is a Jawa hacker named Hood, who Tycho framed. He framed his signature when he broke into the banking clan's computers to like steal some bank for the Zon Consortium. And since he took the blame for it, he's been trying to hunt Tycho down to get revenge.
Okay, lovely. And the man himself, Tycho, who's after you.
I think we could go for an old flame of Tycho's. So, like, I was imagining like a Mirialan hacker of small means, not that great, and I sort of like took her to be my apprentice, so to speak. And I think we were doing a job together, and I essentially, when the job was going awkwardly and we were about to get busted, I threw her under the bus.
Okay, excellent. So Rufus, who's after Tycho and why?
Birdo, who is a Rhodian and sort of like the college roommate of Tycho. And Birdo has a personal vendetta against Tycho because he had this great idea and someone stole it, and he thinks it was Tycho. May or may not have been.
Okay, that's great. And Jay, who's after Tycho and why?
Okay, Nadar Partan is after Tycho. Nadar is a semi-famous con artist, and Tycho was one of his marks. Unfortunately, Tycho saw through Nadar's plan in order to get quite a lot of monies off him. But a little bit too late for Tycho to do anything in terms of bringing Nadar to justice, and Nadar managed to escape. Since then, he's been living quite low. He's been living under a different alias as well. And suddenly he's noticed Tycho is looking quite high in the notoriety levels on this system. Hence why he's become interested in him again.
Oh. Okay, that's great. Can you guys hear me at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break now, so go and grab a drink, nip to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, guys. I'll get this posted on the Tides of Change Facebook group. Then after 10 minutes, we'll come back and we'll see who wants a piece of that sweet, sweet Tycho Madar.
Coffee time.
I'm here.
Okay, so we're just waiting until we've got Jay back and then we're good to go.
No, I'm here. I'm all good.
Splendid.
Did anyone else vote apart from me?
I abstained because it's all about me.
I didn't want to be biased.
I don't know if you guys have currently got your cameras turned on because I can't see them at the moment, but it may just be the hangout at my end.
Yeah, in
Yes,
Hangouts, yeah.
Yeah, I've got mine. Yeah.
Okay, they're not showing on mine. So I'm just wondering whether to refresh the hangout or just press on. Since I'm not sure what effect that'll have on my my Twitch feed. I'll give it a go, we'll see what happens.
Total anarchy.
There we go.
Yeah, that seems to be all fine.
No casualties?
No, it seems like we're all fine. I think we're just about ready to witness the awesome power of this fully operational hangout, and then we'll get going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at the dice roller up. That's grand. Okay, so as you're looking on the system, Tycho, you come across a hacker signature that you recognise. It's the signature of your old roommate, the Rhodian Birdo. Now, when you last heard of him, you were just sort of like before you went your own way to make your own way in the world. He was always a bit of a dreamer even for his species. He was working on some big innovation that he said was going to help him make it big, and he'd borrowed a lot of money to sink into this innovation. And then you went your own way. You didn't really hear anything of him after that. So it's odd he's shown up here and he seems to be looking for you deliberately in the system. He's quite a skilled sort of hacker, although he was more sort of involved in the sort of mechanics and the sort of information side of things. That's entirely down to Tycho. Did you steal this poor Rhodian's invention, forcing him to slave away wearing nothing but a horrible orange tracksuit?
I wonder where that happened. I think I did, but I sold it to someone. I didn't use it myself. I pawned it away.
Okay, in which case I'm going to say that he was effectively working on a sort of narrow beam encrypted communications device, which would make it more difficult to hack into communications. It was far more secure. And you came in one evening when he was slumped over his desk, been working it all day. He was stressed out because he borrowed quite a lot of money from disreputable types to sink into his invention. And you were like, oh, it's never going to work. It's just ridiculous. Then you came in one day to find him sort of slumped over his desk. He'd obviously passed out because he'd been pulling all-nighters for the last week, and this invention was pretty much complete on his desk with the data pad with the schematics just lying there with his hand resting on him, and it was just a little bit too much temptation for you to resist. So you were like, I'll be taking that data pad and that prototype and away.
Yeah.
And you've not seen him since.
And has he actually found me here?
He doesn't appear to have actually located you at the minute, mainly due to the communications issues and the extra blocks that the system puts up to prevent anyone taking advantage of a comms blackout to secure the system. But he's quite a skillful hacker, and he's slowly sort of feeling his way around the system, looking for any trail you may have left when you've been accessing the system yourself.
Okay, so two things. I want to activate one of the like security footage backups that I was planning to use to distract any station security coming after us. I wanna take one of those, and it's probably like a doctored video of me in like a I don't know, like a maintenance closet somewhere.
Okay, that's absolutely
And
fine.
I wanna take that, and I want to just probably like roll some computer for this, but I want to make that bit available to Birdo to find. Like I want to make it so that he would stumble on it as if by accident, and make it seem legit that I'm actually there in the closet.
Okay, so make me a computer's roll. It'll be against a difficulty of 4, which is like his skill level.
Shit, man. Birdo, what happened to you?
Well, he was obviously like the really talented one. That's why you like nicked his his
Yeah.
invention. 'Cause you were obviously the one who was like, I could sell this and make some more money. He's obviously not got quite the business brain you had.
Yeah, my business brain being, I'm just gonna steal this. So if I use a destiny point, that turns one of my green ones to a yellow one.
Correct.
Let's do that. And yeah, no red.
Nope.
Right. Shit. Birdo.
Okay, so I'm going to say you send this footage through, but you're not, due to the hurried way you have to do it, you're not convinced that it's going to fool him. However, you're pretty sure that due to the way you've like encrypted it, he's not going to be able to trace it back to you. Hence the advantage.
And is the end result that we end up like talking in like an IRC chat room? Like, hey, I found this. Yeah.
Pretty much, as you're sort of working on your data pad and you're sending this like blatantly like bullshit footage through, it's like the equivalent of like, it's like the equivalent of like a stick man with your like head like stuck on top of it, like running down like a badly drawn corridor. As you send it through, just like a sort of like black window pops up on your data pad, and just like green writing in that sort of ticker tape style just appears along it, and it says, at last I found you, Murdar.
Birdo, my friend, I reply.
The text continues scrolling up the screen in response, and it said, friends don't steal from friends.
Are you still hung up on that? That was years and years ago, Birdo.
The text continues, yes, years and years I've spent working to pay off the debt that invention was going to save me from. Years of you living the high life on the sweat of my green brow.
Oh. Birdo, Birdo, Birdo. I hope you have used these years to learn something about yourself and the way that business and money works.
Which when it comes up, it says, yes, the Huts are very generous patrons.
So, did you come and see the sights, or did you have something else in mind? I hear there's a very good casino on the station.
A line of text blinks up saying, I've come to thank you personally for the part you play in the most hellish years of my life.
So, and then ... credits, is it?
it flashes up. Says, credits would be a start, but do you really think simple money can pay back all the pain I've had to go through after you stole my invention, the laughter I had to put up with, the loss of pride and faith amongst my people?
I mean, it wasn't anything personal, Birdo. So if you could just move on and give me some figures, and we'll talk money.
As you sort of say, oh, it was nothing personal, the text flashes up and it says, well, I assure you my actions will be very personal, and then it just says Birdo123 has logged off. So as far as you guys, the rest of you guys have seen, you've just heard loads of like tutting and sort of like swearing from Tycho, and he's been like typing on this data pad, and then he's just like, shit.
Everything okay, Tycho?
I can't believe how petty some people are. Well,
I know. Some people should learn how to let a grudge go. And I'll turn and look at Rolatha deep into the whites of his eyes.
I'm imagining Rolatha's like,
Yeah, he's like returning the look and just like fires one more on the screwdriver.
well, if you see a scrawny little Rhodian with a chip or 20,000 on his shoulder, leave that to me. I'll deal with them later. Right. Well, what are we doing right now? Because we kind of had our plan for the next couple of days.
Well, if it's okay with you, I will take Tin Man and head down to our ship.
Yeah.
I strongly object about that.
okay.
Objection! No, I just today, I believe that to be the worst idea you've had, Ralbach. For such a clever creature, don't you think the station is going to be looking for us at our ship?
Wookiee silent footstep is legendary. We're stealthy as a cat in a tree.
Yes, but you are awfully noticeable on a ship. Like they look in and then there you are.
Don't worry, that's what my barrister droid's for. And I'll slap Tin Man on the back incredibly hard.
He staggers forwards a few steps with sort of an obvious like whirring sound and says, yes, I'm sure I'll be of tremendous use when a patrol of security droids turn up, sir. Much as I hate to say it, sir, I agree with Rolatha.
Out of curiosity, Tin Man, what is the sentence for aggravated assault on a space station?
Well, based on what I know of the legal precedent here, you'd be looking at some form of enforced community service, probably with a slave collar or something similar to ensure obedience, depending on the severity of the assault.
Perhaps, Rolatha, you should go first.
I'm not going. I say we lay low and leave with the ship in 2 days' time.
Somebody needs to be a taskmaster for those scientists, though. I can already tell efficiency is dropping.
I think... I don't know what to think. Those scientists are turning out to be trouble.
Perhaps we could give them a carrot on a stick from afar. Have them patched into us. Tell them that one of them can buy their freedom by wiring credits to our account. Once they do so, we have Link walk them down outside the ship and silently kill them.
My guns aren't exactly the quietest of weapons, you realize.
Do you still have that rusty knife?
I have many knives. That is a much quieter method, I can assure you.
Well, it might do something for their morale if they think hard work or gifts can free them. And it also has the added benefit of me making some money.
So what would you have me do?
Could you patch through a comm with the scientists to Tin Man?
I could try. I'm not brilliant at computers.
You hear Tin Man's voice in the background saying, "All you need to do, sir, is hold up this comm link you're talking to now in their general direction, and I will talk louder."
Ah, yes. Then that I will do.
I'll turn and I'll do an over-exaggerated wink at Rolotha.
Shakes his head.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so I go over to the scientists who hopefully are nicely hard at work, and
They are.
I hold out the comlink to one of them. Someone wants to speak to you.
Alright, Tin Man, translate this, starting after I finish this sentence.
Very good, sir.
Greetings, which one of you wants to get out of here alive?
He dutifully translates that, and after a bit they're like, "Well, yeah, all of us."
What are your financial holdings? Starting with those that are liquid.
Well, most of us have got tenure with various imperial academic organisations, but we don't carry large amounts of liquid cash around with us.
Oh, that's interesting. You say you're involved with the various imperial academies.
Of course.
Do you have access to their funds for research and development?
We have access to certain slush funds that we're allocated for our research, for supplies, our expenses account, if you will.
First one of you that uses that account to wire me the maximum amount of money you can gets to leave the ship immediately.
Okay, from where you are, Link, there's a bit of a scramble as they all sort of rush to do this. Can you please make me a deception roll for yourself, Ralback?
Yes, sir.
The difficulty is 2. However, one of those is red.
And I will use a destiny point. Failure advantage.
Okay, there's, as I said, Link, there's a bit of a scramble as they all rush to do this. A few moments later, you receive a notification on your sort of personal accounts, Ralback, that 200 credits has been deposited in your account.
Link, which one wired me the money?
I'm assuming I would have known, right?
Yeah, there's a slightly elderly gentleman with like sort of a balding head and a few white tufts of like bushy hair, who was the first to like grab hold of the device and sort of wire the money across.
One of the older guys, got tufts of white hair. It looks a bit scraggly.
Ah, wise. See, now you reap the fruits of your reward. You were walking on the edge of the knife, my friend, but you got the point. Link, he got the point. Set him free.
Certainly. And I do.
Okay, so this, I presume you're not actually letting him go, Link, or?
Well, I'm kind of saying, "You may go free now," and sort of gesturing, but I keep my gun pretty much at him.
Okay, as you say, now you may go free. You see him, so he takes out a small locket that's around his neck, looks at a picture, and you can sort of, from the angle you are, you can just about make out like a little sort of like family portrait in it. And he looks and he says, "Oh, you mean I can actually go? I can get back to my family and my daughter and my granddaughter?"
Okay, I march up to him and put the muzzle of the gun at his neck and say, "Of course you can."
He says, "Oh, thank you." And he starts like hurrying towards like the exit ramp, basically.
Well, the idea was to not make him do that. Okay, if he does that, I just try and grab him.
Oh yeah, not a problem. You can easily grab him. He says, "Oh, I don't understand. I thought you were allowing me to go."
I am. I'm letting you go free. And I cock my pistol. Not pistol, sorry, cock the rifle.
He says, well, wait a minute. I did exactly as your friend wanted. There's no need for any of this. I promise you, I won't say anything to anyone. I just want to get home to see my family. They'll be wondering where I am. We've all been gone far too long.
By this point, I would have turned up the comm and said, "Okay, allow me to do the favour." And I shoot him.
Okay, you don't have to make a roll for it. He's a frail elderly gentleman. Your single shots are like drills him neatly between the eyes. He topples over backwards, causing a slight thump as his like thin frame just like hits the floor. There's a couple of screams from like the other scientists as they just see you like and just take out this old geezer.
What are you looking at? Get back to work.
Okay, can you make me a coercion roll, please? Difficulty 3. One of those is red.
I'm just so horrible. Oh, a threat.
Okay. Okay, you take 4 wounds of damage as you're sort of turning around and going get back to work. As you're sort of lifting your rifle up, the rest of the scientists obviously decide that it's obvious you're not going to let them go and you're just going to kill them, so they've really got nothing to lose, and they all just sort of dive on you and start sort of like hitting you with anything they've got in their hands, basically, all the while sort of like shouting for help. Obviously, on the open comlink that's still open, Ralback, you hear like the conversation that Link has with the scientist. You hear the poof of the blaster, then you hear like lots of shouts, and you hear like this like poof, 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 and, like,
No, I still would have turned it off by then.
and then it goes off.
I would turn to Rolotha and Tycho and say, another successful negotiation. See how it's done, boys.
I shake my head and like murmur something under my like nose, something along the lines of like the intricacies of intrigue is as lost on Link as the intricacies of honor on you, something like that.
Oh, you wound me. And my hand goes up to my Wookiee heart, and I'll look down for a second, and I'll say, so, we should probably go save him, though.
Yeah. I'm going to come with you partway, and then I'm going to barricade myself inside a room with access to the station's network. And I'll help you from there.
Sounds good. 10 mana on the double. And I'll start running.
Very good, sir.
Rolata just like sits there and does something with the droids and waits to see how long does Ralba go without him.
Yeah, like you get 2 screw turns, and then you see my head stick out behind the doorwell. Rolata, are you coming?
I look up and I see no point in it. If we go there, there will be big ruckus. Station will come down on us. Told
So
you we
I'll put you down as a no.
I nod.
Okay, take it easy, my friend, and I'll turn and go.
Okay, and obviously it's going to take you guys a little bit of time to get there. So while they're heading towards your location, Link, obviously you're sort of like on the ground, and like all these scientists like on you know, they've got very little combat skill. It's just like the fact there's like 7 of them all just like hitting you with things.
Indeed. Okay, I'm gonna try and get on my vibroblade, and with my incredible skills with my axe, I'm gonna just kind of slice at them to make them back off.
Okay, getting your vibroblade out isn't an issue whatsoever because they're not fighting you as like a coordinated force. It's just like a mob of like these terrified people, and you're far more practiced in combat than they are. They're scientists, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So you get your vibro sword out, make your attack roll difficulty is 2.
Okay. Technically an axe, but never mind. Oh! That I believe is a crit.
It would be, but you haven't actually got any successes. So you haven't actually.
Oh yeah, of course, you said that last time, never mind.
So you've got a lot of advantages. So basically what's happened, you've not done them any damage, but you've managed to like get out from under them. So describe how you've got yourself in like an advantageous position for your next attack.
Okay, if they're kind of crowded around me, I'm going to take my vibroblade, swing it around, and so they either lead back or some of them are kind of thrown back by the force of the blade, and then I get up, start spinning my axe around, and kind of go for any that are still in a clump.
Okay, so you whirl the vibro axe round, force it's like in a big swinging arc, forcing them to back off. Basically, if you'd still been on the ground sort of prone, they would have got bonuses to their next attack, which I'm about to roll now. However, because you've done this, they're not going to get the bonuses. They're just going to be doing their basic attacks. Well, they're one basic attack. Okay, you take another 4 wounds of damage as they rush you again.
I have so much armor. It's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are literally like, they're effectively like hitting you with like test tubes and like tripods. So they're not exactly doing a lot to you, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, in that case, I try and do an overhead swipe on one of them, make it a bit gorier.
Go for it.
Hopefully, maybe this cower in fear. Okay, difficulty 2 again.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I will tell you with that level you've got, if you wish, you could effectively like just dispatch them all with one mighty sweep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
slice them all in half.
describe how that goes down.
Okay, so I try and take an overhead, but then I realize that actually they're all kind of nicely almost in line, a bit like, you know, when you're bowling and the skittles are all sort of information. So I kind of bring it around and whew, really fast, and they've been sliced through one way or another through their torsos, and they realize this and they kind of fall apart.
Indeed, there's that cinematic moment where you swing your axe through, and for a moment they all seem as though they're absolutely fine, and they just sort of stood there. Then slowly these like red lines start to just appear across their body, and like bits of them just start to like fall off as they all like topple to the ground in multiple pieces. And soon the only sound in the corridor of the ship that you're in is like the dull hum of your vibro weapon.
Oh, everything is always so complicated. And I put my vibro axe away.
Okay. Now, since not much else is sort of happening in this area, I'm going to fast forward to the point where Ralbak and Tin Man arrive. Tycho, you've sequestered yourself in a sort of maintenance bay that's got a public access feed to it. So, Ralbak, you turn up on the scenes, and pretty much as you head into this corridor, it looks like some sort of like splatterfest has taken place in here. There's like bits of scientists like everywhere. It looks as though someone's like repainted this corridor a deep shade of red. And there's pretty much Link who's like splattered in blood, vibroaxe over the back.
Yeah, so I'll come around the corner with my static pistol out and take in this bouquet of carnage. Oh, everything okay, Link?
Just fine.
Damn it, those cheap bastards.
Oh yeah, they just tried to mob me. They were a bit too worried by your conditions. I had to dispatch of them.
I don't know if it was my fault or Tin Man's fault, and I'll kind of like try to shift blame to Tin Man, hoping he doesn't try to refute it. I fear that something went wrong in our plan. I had meant for you to walk the man off of the ship and then kill him out of their view, so they thought the carrot was real. Though killing him in front of them was very entertaining.
Well, what can I say? I prefer to do things to quiver the psyche of others. I don't like doing things behind closed doors or round the back of buildings.
I'll walk over and start going through their pockets, and while I'm doing that, I'll say, so how efficient were these scientists at fixing the ship? How far did this set us back?
They did a little, but they were a handful, really. I couldn't really determine how much they've done. I'm not a mechanic, but take a look yourself.
And, do I find anything on them, John?
You find a grand total of approximately like 10 credits worth of like various bits and pieces.
Do any of them have data pads or any sort of data receptacles?
Yeah, there's a smattering of data pads between them. Well, you expect most of their stuff's probably like in the science bay they were locked in.
Okay. So if they do have anything basic on them, I'll kind of turn it on and flip through it to see if they have like a work order, a work log of what they've been working on.
Okay, you can see that they were working on the atmospheric systems of the ship, so making sure they were all ship shape, so you got breathable air, etc. Since they were working on the more of the sort of just checking systems, you can see they're effectively just going through like ticking off, like going, yeah, this is fine. They were just like flagging stuff up for like further repair, but their section appears to be pretty good, to be honest.
Looks like they were getting everything in line before they actually conducted the major repairs themselves. I could get started right away. Mechanics isn't my forte, but with Tin Man's help, we might be able to make some headway.
John,
Yes.
while they are like going away and inevitably wait for the station's crew to get there, I would like to modify Gray.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is, you said there are a lot of like used droids here.
That's correct.
So what I am trying to do is have their power core, like I'm looking for a damaged power core that, if used, would overcharge and explode, right?
Okay. Make me a mechanics roll. Difficulty 2.
Okay, I do have 2 of these, 1 of this. A whole advantage.
Okay, you don't manage to find exactly what you want. However, you do find it's not quite got quite as high an output of energy as you would have liked, but you do find a sort of small power core with like a damaged casing on it.
Okay, so how big of an explosion would it do if it turned on?
If it was turned on and you sort of ran enough power through it, you think it'd do enough explode. Probably be about a 10-foot radius explosion. There might be like a bit of damage beyond that, but that'd be where the mainstay of the damage would be.
That's actually perfect. So what I'm going to try to do is these units have like a secondary power cell, and I remove the secondary power cell and replace it with the broken one.
Okay.
And write a protocol that if I switch to secondary power, it should be only if I give the conditions to, right? So if it starts running out of power, it would rather fall down, but wouldn't switch to secondary, only on my order.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You can easily do that with the role you've got.
And yeah, so that's what I would like to do.
Okay, yes. So you set about doing that.
Basically, it's like has a self-destruct option that would detonate. That's,
okay.
And that's what I've been doing.
Okay, so while that's going on, what's Tycho been up to?
I guess I've been trying to track Birdo down through the system.
Okay, make me a computers roll. Difficulty is 4.
And with my code breaker, that's 3 then.
Mm-hmm.
It lowers it by 1.
That's correct.
Right. And we'll use 1 destiny as well. Come on. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, you managed to locate that he's staying in one of the many sort of effectively hotels that are built in the upper levels. He's staying in quite an expensive sort of luxuriant sort of hotel. It's called the Golden Leku.
Mm-hmm.
And you managed to basically track his you managed to track like his booking when he like booked into the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can see also that he's basically booked in on sort of like an open ticket. He's not like, oh, I'm booking him for 3 days. He's sort of booked in for like an indefinite stay.
Yeah. Would I be able to tell if he's there right now?
You can't tell if he's there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're sort of tracking like the paper trail effectively.
Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll take some security footage. We'll take a look at the killing fields at the docks.
Okay.
How bad is the security situation going to be down there in the near future?
You have a look at the docks. However, since Link killed like these scientists on board the ship, there's not actually much that's obviously wrong from the outside of the ship.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like there's no group of mechanics like outside going like, I heard some weird noises from there. Do you think we should call the security?
Now, luckily, given that the fact that there's so many work crews working on the ship, there's quite a lot of like machine noise anyway, which you expect has probably gone a long way towards like covering the sounds of people going, "Ah, my spleen."
Right. Okay. With that in mind, I want to scavenge a weapon and head to the hotel.
Are you proposing you spend in a destiny to get like a decent weapon, or are you just like scrounging?
Well, I guess I would be knowledgeable in how to obtain weapons, even though I'm shit at using them. So yeah, okay, yeah. Let's make this a shit show of epic proportions. So. If I flip the last one, what would I be able to get?
I'd say you'd be able to get like a small sidearm, like a blaster pistol or something like that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, you use your knowledge of the system to basically get, let's say, just a sort of shadier person to like drop it off. They let you know that they are expecting payment for the weapon, but they're sort of willing to like wait for the payment for a bit because you've had dealings with them before.
Right. Yeah, I'll just like post on the station darknet equivalents. It's like blaster pistol needed stats, and just like an address in some dark hallway, and then we'll do the classic like we pass each other, and the blaster changes hands, and I probably give the black market dealer like my contact details, like on a information stick or whatever. And with the blaster, I'll head to the hotel.
Okay, you grab this blaster and you head to the Golden Leku, as you would expect on the sort of upper levels of the station. It's tremendously tacky. The whole of like the outside of like the hotel is like sprayed this like burnished gold colour. There's what appears to be a very like muscular sort of like Twi'lek bouncer like stood on the door, wearing like a very sharp looking suit. As people are walking up, he's like smiling and he's like welcoming them to the hotel.
I will have activated my So my impression of this place is that they're not that big on Imperial authority right now, because it's not like a clear and present danger here.
That would certainly seem to be the case,
yeah. Yeah, because they're more afraid of the Crimson Queen and the Marauders. So if it's possible, I would like to holocopy like one of the other residents at the hotel as they're like leaving or whatever, just like brush them on their way out, and then just immediately become enveloped in their attire.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Make me a deception or stealth roll. You will get a boost dice for your kit that you're using, obviously. The difficulty is 2.
Difficulty 2. Yeah, we'll go for deception. It's my main jam. And bonus die for that. Yeah. Ooh. 3 successes.
Okay, so now remind me, your suits are made to copy like the physicality, or is it just like
it's just a hologramic like representation of an outfit.
Okay, not a problem. As you walk up and you're wearing like a very sort of dapper looking suit, you see this large like muscular Twi'lek there, and he says, "Welcome to the Golden Leku, sir. I hope you enjoy your stay."
Yes. I'm meeting with an old colleague of mine here. You see, well, it is a bit of an embarrassment to me, but I suffer from a condition where, well, I shall not bore you with the details, but suffice it to say that exposure to certain kinds of rays in my line of work, in my illustrious career, it has left me slightly on the less than adequate side of memory, if you understand my meaning, good sir.
Are you trying to say you're forgetful, sir?
In a manner of speaking, yes. My friend is a Rhodian, a gentleman, and I seem to have forgotten his name, and I wonder if I am fairly certain that this is the place that he is staying at.
Well, we do have a number of Rhodians staying here, sir.
Oh boy. Ah.
Can you give me any more details?
Okay, so I got access to his booking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe should include something about when he was arriving here.
Yeah, you've got his arrival time.
Yeah. So I'll lay down that like this is the day that he should have arrived, and
Okay. Make me a deception
So-
roll, difficulty 2. You get a boost dice because you have all of his like booking information.
mhm. So that's the same exact roll. Oh, oh shit. Oh, 3 threats.
Okay, so he, as the Twi'leks are looking at this information you've given him, he says, yes, of course you must mean Mr. Burdo. He's in room 24.
Ah, Birdo. You must not tell him that I forgot his name. He will never let me hear the end of it.
Of course not. We pride ourselves on our discretion at the Golden Lacquer, sir.
Very good. I shall leave you to your work then. I appreciate the tremendous help you have given me.
Not at all, sir. That's what I'm here for.
Splendid.
And he goes back to like standing on the side of the door, and you see him like talking to some other people, like welcoming him to the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'd like to get access to some of the hotel systems, so my guess is going to be, I don't know, maybe there's a like back room where there's like their systems gear. So I want to try and figure out where I could get access to the systems of the hotel, and then figure out whether or not Birdo is inside.
Okay. Right, make a computer's roll. Difficulty 2.
Mm-hmm. Purple ones.
Yep.
And would this entail my code breaker stuff?
Yep.
So 1. So 3 successes and an advantage.
Okay, and you were trying to establish whether he's actually in there, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as you can see, he's in room 24 as described.
Okay. Can I tell if anyone else is in with him?
Not as far as you can tell.
Right. Okay. I guess we'll maybe sideswipe to someone else as I finish my thing in the back room. I put my data pad away. I take my blaster pistol. I check that the energy charge is actually even like remotely full, and put it in and head towards the door.
Okay, and as you reach out for the door, we're going to jump back to Link and Ralback. What are you guys up to?
Okay, well, I guess I would have been cleaning up the rest of the mess. And I would have got back in touch with Remo saying that my group are most definitely interested, and that hopefully we'll be able to set off in about a day or 2.
Okay, so getting in touch with Remo isn't an issue because you've got his sort of comm frequency. That's absolutely fine. You get in touch with him, you tell him that you're interested in the job, and he says, man, that's good to know. You need that advance so you can buy any equipment for yourself?
That would be most helpful, yes.
Con me over the account where you want no money sent to.
Okay, I do so.
Okay, you send him over the details of your account, presumably via Comlink, and a few moments later, you see that there has been a deposit of 2,500 credits into the account.
Nice. Cute.
You get that like, bring, you have money notification.
Okay, so I let the rest of my companions know and say, well, this is for equipment that we might need. There's 7,500 on the way if we manage to do this deal before anybody else steps in.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to start on those repairs. Perhaps Rawatha should come assist me.
Are you going to contact Relatha on the comms, or?
No, I'm going to say that to Link and
Oh, I
kind of
see.
mysteriously walk into the back where the atmospheric machines are with Tin Man.
Tin Man shuffles after you.
And you'll hear faintly in the background, Link, as we kind of like get out of your earshot. Tin Man, which one of these is the atmospheric system, and what is a hydrospanner?
The small tool down there is a hydrospanner, sir, and you see the large mechanism up there. That's the central atmospheric processing unit, sir.
Ah, very good. Now watch as I begin repairs, and I'll crack my knuckles and go down for the hydrospanner.
Are you sure that's wise, sir?
Well, I don't want a human or somebody else controlling the atmospheric controls. I need to make this habitable for Wookiees first and foremost. Don't you agree, Tin Man?
It really doesn't matter to me, sir. I have neither the need nor inclination to breathe.
Oh, I long for that hot, spicy, barky air of my homeland. A place I can never return to.
I'm sure the wood is delightful, sir.
Ah, it is. It really is. Now, here we go. I'm going to stick that wrench in there and start trying to adjust the atmospheric controls.
Okay, make me a mechanics roll, difficulty 3.
Okay. No problem. 2. Okay. Success.
Okay, it takes you a little bit longer than you would have liked, but eventually you manage to get the atmospheric compensators working to the specifications you want.
And if Link sticks around for a bit, I think he'll start feeling the temperature get like really hot and moist, almost like someone's turning the ship into a sauna.
Ugh. What are you trying to do? Recreate myself? It's boiling. I'll go and let Relatha know that you need him.
Please do so. I'm about to start work on some of the more delicate pieces of machinery.
You're pretty certain, Link, if it gets any hotter in here, you might start seeing like parrots and jungle animals.
Yeah, okay, so I get in touch with Relatha and just simply say to him that Ralbak needs him on the ship. He's done something weird with the temperature to make it more homely for Wookiees.
Okay, having finished with my trusty little remote, I just simply say, all right, I'll be there. And I use my trusty service tunnels to go to the ship unnoticed.
To be honest, you're getting fairly good with these service tunnels now, because you had plenty of time to like look at the maps. So you're through. You shave like quite a lot of time off what otherwise would have been a long journey. Because you're like, oh, if I just go through like subsection B and then take tunnel 3 down here and then go off at a right angle, you've really sort of like you've almost like partially like memorized these maps now. So it's starting to get very easy for you to get around.
My Nosferatu blood. Yeah. And when I arrive, I feel as if home on the really hot and humid planet.
You walk into the ship, and it's such a nice change to step from the normal like freezing temperatures of this like station into somewhere that's like at a normal level of heat.
Yeah, like finally.
Okay, obviously, like everyone else who's like on the ship or like working nearby, it's like pissing sweat out of them, and it's like, well, like breathing quite heavily. Whereas you're like, oh, this is lovely.
Yeah, and I go to Ralbach, and I have my remote follow me, and I say, you changed up a place. I like it.
I can't tolerate these cold climates that the humans are so used to.
Listen, Ralbach. I have this remote. I think it should follow you from now on. It's easier for me to keep an eye out on other people, even when I'm not there. I modified it so I can always contact you with it.
Oh, that is rather considerate of you. And I'll turn and like look up at the atmospheric machine and say, actually, I was just having a conversation with Tycho the other day about possibly getting you a brain implant so I could have 24/7 access to you. But now with this remote following me around, you should be at my beck and call indefinitely.
Yes, I send a smile. Less than, honest. I believe this is less painful, a less painful way of solving it.
I agree. Well done, Ralatha. Well done.
As you sort of assign the remote to him, Ralatha, you sort of think back to when you sort of like you were cobbling together like the vocabulator for like this particular droid, the grey probe. And again, it's a little odd, but like each of them seems to be like developing like distinct sort of almost like proto personalities, and the grey one seems it's almost like got a sort of like a sort of puppy like personality, very sort of quite excitable, very sort of like eager to please.
Okay, well, that will be nice for Ralba.
Well,
I'm not saying that you deliberately picked like the most annoying one to like give to Ralba, but
maybe not.
we're going to have to burn the midnight oil, my friend. Just a few minutes ago, I heard Link tell his contact Remo that we would be leaving shortly. A day and a half, 2 days.
We should set up a defensive perimeter if someone is trying to attack our ship.
Link has a few knives. Perhaps we could just send him out there to skulk and wait.
Alright, I guess. I'm not satisfied with that.
You should have seen those bodies, Ralatha. He made short work of them.
Yeah, I'm not...
7 scientists destroyed.
They could have been used better, but... Never mind. I'm going to try to do something. And I go... And I actually do that. So, like, I look at the defensive systems on the ship. Maybe it has that ground cannon that Han Solo's had in Empire Strikes Back. Anything that, if someone were to approach the ship, what could be done?
Here, you use this, my friend. This hydro spanner might help. And I'll hand it to you over your shoulder. I'll kind of like pause on the fact I know it's a hydro spanner too to see if you're impressed.
Not really. He just like takes it. Oh, thanks. He just like tucks it in one of his like belts and he has like 3 other next to it.
Okay. I'm going to jump now back to Tycho. You've got your hand on the door, Tycho. You're outside room 24.
Yeah. I'm going to. Well, is there like a comm unit outside for, I don't know, like room service and stuff?
There's not a comm unit. However, there's like a pad with like some sort of like card reader on it. You presume they must give them like key cards or something to access their room.
Right. So that's getting jacked next. So
Make the roll.
Difficulty.
Difficulty 2.
Right. Well.
Yeah, not a problem. You can easily pop that bad boy open.
Yeah. So I open it and I break the lock. I slide the door just slightly open. Take a deep breath because I'm not in any way used to this kind of crime.
Okay. As you sort of open the door a crack, you've got your gun in hand, you sort of open the door quietly. You can see in the room beyond, and it's a fairly sort of luxurious room. There's like thick curtains at the far end on like the window. They're closed. The room's sort of fairly dimly lit. You can just see like there's a figure sat in a chair with its back to you, like obviously like facing towards the window. There's a small like personal computer or data pad on the table in front of the figure. You can just see like the sort of dim glow shining up from the screen.
There's a window that the figure is facing, right? So technically, if they look up, they see me in the window.
But they would do normally, but there's like heavy curtains like drawn over it. So.
Yeah, right. Cool. So I'm gonna try and sneak behind this person.
Okay, make me a stealth roll, difficulty 2.
Oh, whoa! This is, yeah. I'm not using my stealth stuff, so let's see. Yeah. So I get 1 boost dice because I am a thief.
Go for it.
And yeah, cool. And difficulty 2.
Yep. Not a problem. You sneak into that room like a ninja, barely making a sound.
It's James Bond in the house. Yeah. So I go behind the figure. I probably because I have the luxurious outfit that I copied outside. I almost drop like a vase from a nightstand or whatever as I approach, but I managed to grab it in time. So I approach with a vase and the pistol in my hand, and I put the pistol into the. Is it actually a Rhodian in there?
Okay, it's quite like a high-backed chair, so you'd have to sort of move around a bit.
Okay, yeah. I got it now. So I'll go there and sidestep from behind the high-backed chair and stick the pistol into whoever is behind there, in their face, essentially.
You step around the chair and you're like, with the pistol, and as you do, you see what appears to be a dead Twi'lek woman in the chair. She's got like a massive like blaster burn in the center of her chest.
Yeah, I put my blaster and the vase on the table. I'm like, shit, and then I start looking around the room.
As you go, shit, and you look around the room, the data pad on the table suddenly starts going.
Yeah. Right. I'll pick that up disconnect whatever signal is trying to come through.
Okay. It's not signal come through. It's basically it's effectively just like playing like a really loud alarm sound. But as you pick it up, you can see like a little digital picture of like a Rhodian going, and it just says "got you" underneath it. As you're looking at that, you hear footsteps running down the corridor outside the room, and then you hear, "Open up!" And that is where we're
right.
I was saying with your final words of
and then I
that is where
freezing.
we'll leave the session for this week.
Oh dear.
With you sort of holding this like still shrieking datapad that you've just turned off,
Yeah.
staring down at the body of this dead Twi'lek, and just like, you know, the bit in Jurassic Park where like the cartoon of the guy appears on the system and he's like and they're like trying like get it's the equivalent of that, only it's this Rhodian like. So thank you very much for playing the game, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Yeah.
Despite the fact I've just knocked most of my shit off my table by like hammering on the table, but never mind.
You knocked most of my eardrum out from that. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, well, we went out on a high note, so to speak.
So thank you very much for playing, guys. I'm quite happy to chat for a bit after the game, but I'm just going to end the broadcast now.